And what I'm doing right now is talking about the power of social media. And what I'm saying to you is I believe that live stream is worth 4 times pre-recorded. I'm going to repeat it. Live stream is worth 4 times pre-recorded. And what I'm doing right now is doing a live stream video on a subject that's been put out there called the gap. The gap is this. Right now, one of the biggest challenges in the industry is that there's a gap between the vendor and the buyer. The vendor is up here and the buyer is here. So what I'd like to do is talk about the things that you could be doing to actually help the gap get smaller. Number one, I want you to understand this. Listen very carefully. I want you to, and this is like 2GB where you've got a 7-second delay. Right? One of the things I want you to understand about the gap is this. Firstly, the gap is always going to be there because every vendor thinks their house is better than everyone else. So number one, start off with the premise, the gap is always going to be there. Number two is this. Your job as an agent is to actually be a deal maker. You get paid to not take orders, you get paid to be a deal maker, not an order taker. So you accept the responsibility that your job is to help the vendor accept the gap. So how do you do that? It's really simple. The way you do it is that you give people the truth. And the truth will come via what people say in the market. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Low offers, they blame the market. No offers, they blame the agent. So get offers, get offers. The second thing is this. What you've got to do is explain to vendors that their home is on the market in competition, not in isolation. And the way that you do that is you pull out a chart and you actually have in the chart all the properties that are currently on the market and all the properties that have sold in the last 3 months. And what you're doing is being like a doctor. You see, what does a doctor do? A doctor, when you've got a broken ankle, a doctor pulls out an x-ray and puts it up against a wall. And what does a real estate agent do? The same thing. They pull out the comparable sales and the comparable properties like an x-ray and say, Mr. Vendor, here is the information. The next thing that's going to help you improve the gap is this, that you have frequency. And frequency means that you speak to them every day. Now, a lot of people say, Tom, but how can you speak to them every day? What is there to say? What if you haven't had a buyer that's come through? I say it's really simple. You ring them up and say, Mr. and Mrs. Vendor, I'm letting you know that today we've had no one that wants to come and look at your property, but we've had 13 virtual inspections on realestate.com and we've had 12 virtual inspections on Domain. I'll keep you posted. You just keep giving them information. Because one of the worst things that you can do in real estate is not call, not call, not call. Then what happens? The longer you don't call is the longer you don't call because you begin to feel guilty because you haven't been calling and it becomes an awkward conversation. So what you do is, by the way, if you're ever in a hole, the best advice is you stop digging. Pick up the phone and make the call. The next thing on covering the gap is this. What you need to do is help vendors understand next move strategy. And a lot of real estate agents are really good at this. What they do is this. They get their vendor and they say, Mr. and Mrs. Vendor, I know that this is what we're doing with your sale, but can we quickly do a bit of an assessment on your next move? And many clients are really surprised to actually find out they can actually achieve their goal at a lower figure than they expected. So what good real estate agents sometimes do is actually get their current vendor and they might even take them to an area to show them what they can buy and actually show them that the changeover figure is not what they expect. And because that happens is they reduce their own expectation on their own property. So having a next assessment move meeting is very useful. You must always have a written report sent out every week. You must always have a vendor on a real life media tool like WhatsApp and Everything that happens on that property, you post it. I'm obsessed with WhatsApp. Why? Because I saw a vendor once with WhatsApp sitting at a cafe, looking at it, that had been on the market in Haberfield, and I worked out that that WhatsApp message from that agent over the last 5 weeks was pretty much a vendor management tool, helping them understand every day what the reality of the market is. Obsessed with real life tools, love WhatsApp. The last thing I'll say about accepting the gap is this. Get vendors to invest in marketing. I'll tell you why. When they invest in marketing, when you give them feedback, they listen to the feedback because they paid for the feedback. The fastest way to work out if a vendor is motivated is if they put their hand in their pocket and invest in marketing. Because if you sign up a vendor that doesn't want to invest in marketing, you know what they're saying? Use your time, use your money. I have a plan B. And I've got to tell you, plan B vendors generally don't work out really well. Guys and girls, speak soon. So, gang, you can stutter along the way, but I think all you do is you constantly put out. Now, you got to understand, my audience is real estate agents, so that's why I say what I say. But you've got to be saying to vendors what you think they need to be hearing, right? So you've got to be posting content. It's critical. I'm pleased to be launching the Kickstart for Real Estate Gym in 2020. In January and February around Australia and New Zealand, I'll be launching an event in your city to help you plan your year, give you an activity plan that's going to allow you to know what you've got to do to have your best year ever. There are new scripts, there are new dialogues, there are new processes, there are new tech hacks that are going to help you win the digital interview. In addition to that, we've assembled the hottest real estate agents across Australasia at the moment that are going to share what they did to give them success in the previous 12 months. You'll be receiving a workbook that's going to allow you to walk away with a clear plan of what you've got to do to totally smash it in 2020. I look forward to seeing you at those events, and I want to remind you, at $39 with no selling off the stage, this is the best value education session there is in Australasia.